whether those little diodes are not working. So, and it's not working. It is not working. Waiting. I'll put this on. £1.42 I can get, which is $3 Australian, a code. But she's looking good. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of TJM, the Jagman. I'm Brett, and I'm excited because I've got the XK8 back from the painters. So if you have a look at my earlier episodes of the XK8, this is episode number 4 coming up. I had the whole rear end painted because it had a lot of sun damage. The clear coat had gone off it. And Tom, my new painter mate, has done an absolutely gorgeous job of painting it. Didn't have to do the front of it because that was already in reasonably good condition. There's a few little stone chips there, but you know, economically I didn't think it was worth it. So I'm really happy with it. But there's still a lot of things to do to get this car right. So let's get stuck into them. Okay, for those of you who watched my last video, these wipers just stay on by themselves. You turn it off, even if you turn the ignition off, the wipers just keep going zip. And I looked at a couple of forums and they think, well, most of them say it could either be the stalk itself, but they say they rarely play up. And I can't see it being the stalk because it's only a switch inside that, and I don't think there's anything there that can really muck up so much. Could be a relay, but I've tested the relays and they seem to be both working okay. So there's a micro switch in the motor itself. So we're just going to pull off this front panel here, take the wipers off and see if we can get into that micro switch and possibly hopefully fix it. That one there is the wipers on and off, and that's one's for slow and fast speeds. But I've tested those and they're working. So the only other thing it could be is in the motor itself. Now, they tell me there's a little micro switch in that motor and there's a few little diodes that are in there and they can play up. So I'm going to take the wiper blades off. They should be easy enough. And take this scuttle panel off and see if we can get to that motor. Very gentle taking these wipers off. You don't want to damage the washer hoses. They're quite brittle. The little plastic fittings on them. We've got most of those off without breaking anything for change. Get the scuttle panel off. Before we fully remove the scuttle, there's little rubber hooks that hold the drain plug on. Can't get it with one hand. Just make sure you unhook them first so you don't rip them when you take the scuttle panel off. Okay, we've got all the bolts undone, have we? Have we got them all undone? Come on, little scuttle panel, come on. Okay, what's it up there? Is it coming off? There you go, all off. Oop. I still have a hose attached. Okay, so we have the shroud off. This will give me a good opportunity to clean all this through here and that. And I think the drain plug was disconnected as well from the scuttle bit because it just fell off, and I don't think the other one was connected on the other side as well. So there's the motor down there somewhere, so we've still got to get a bit of stuff removed to get to it. They said it was easy. It doesn't look that easy. So first things first, I've just removed this plastic bracket that really does anything. I think it's just to protect the motor from a bit of moisture. And that's the accelerator cable, so I can't take that off, so we just slide that down. That is a new bolt that's gone in there, so it tells me this thing's been off not all that long ago. Okay, with a bit of luck, this whole thing should just pull out somehow. The light's not real good in here today. Let me see. should just come out. There you go. Okay, so I can just unplug that down there. It's all new to me, boys and girls. Okay, so there's a micro switch in there somewhere. It's probably just somewhere there. And 9 times out of 10, it'll be the micro switch. So we'll pull this apart and see if we can get it working a little bit better. That's interesting. It's been rubbing on the chassis somewhere. I have to check out why that was doing that. On the forums, it also says that these little diodes may be at fault, but obviously they're beyond my capability to fix. I don't even know how to test them. Anyway, we'll put it back together and just see if we've accomplished anything. I don't think we have, because I think these things are meant to like make a little clicky noise off and on. Maybe I can just put my multimeter on it and just see if it changes that when I push it in. We might do that. It's pretty hard for me to put these terminals on and do the switch at the same time because it's a little bit tricky. That's not pushed in. That's pushed in, so it's an open circuit. So I guess that's working. So whether those little diodes are not working. So in other words, it's open, closed. I'll put it back together. It's really easy to put back together, and it's not too many bolts and it's not complicated. I didn't have to take off the bolt on the other end there I didn't have to take off the bolt on that one there. That's only if you're removing the motor from the mechanism itself, which I really didn't have to do. So we get all this back together. 7th the 1st, 99. Well, as I said before, it wasn't such a big deal to take all that off and give me an opportunity to give it a good clean under there. I've got it connected to an earth. I've got a 4-pin here, so the first pin's the earth. Second pin is a, I don't know, it's probably intermittent. I can hear the relay go on. And look at that, I've got about 7 volts in that, but the wipers are off. There's nothing. I'll turn it on wiper 1 speed on intermittent. Oh yeah, we've got 7.5 on that pin, so I wish I had a wiring diagram, otherwise I really don't know what I'm doing here. But now we've got, okay, so 1 speed, now we've got nearly 12 volts. It's upside down, I know, but you can still read it. And that one's showing nothing, but if I do it on high speed, we've got 12 volts, nothing on that one because that was a low speed. And that one is still showing 7 volts, but that is the intermittent one, I'm guessing. And we turn those wipers completely off, and we go back here, and I still have power to it. Not those two, just that one. Now I turn the ignition off, which I should have 0 to it, like not anything. And I'll hook that up to that one again. Now it's going to prove me wrong. No, and I've still got power to it. Makes sense. Don't know. Wish I had a wiring diagram. I put the motor back in. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that motor, even though I've ordered a second handy. But that, I can probably just resell that somehow. I'll just clean this up, give it a bit of a grease and oil, make sure everything's smooth there, get the scuttle back on. I was thinking of actually diving in and trying to have a look at that wiper stalk. But I can't get the surround off without trying to damage it. The clips are just a bit too hard. I don't want to break it. And I don't want to start diving into things that are really not broken and I'm unsure of. I'm just guessing with a lot of the stuff. So we're just going to leave the wipers. I have ordered another wiper motor, a second-hand one. It wasn't that expensive. I'm sure I'll use it if this one's all right. But it's a bit of a trial and error thing with this. But what we're doing now, this is really quite funny. I've taken the center console off. Now, it's pretty quite easy to take the center console off. The only little difficulty is to get the J-gate surround off. And that's a little bit tricky. The black thing, you've got to use some some sort of slidey thing to push the clips out anyway. They were all broken anyway, so I didn't even have to worry about that. But I'm just going to take my radio out because I contacted Jaguar customer care. Well, first of all, I contacted my retailer, my Jaguar bloke in Sydney, and asked them for a radio code, and they said, no, we don't keep radio codes. I said, but you should try JLR customer care. And I went, okay. And I rang them up and spoke to the girl, and she didn't know. And she said, no, we don't keep them. But she said, I'll raise a case for you, see if we can get someone to call you back and find a VIN number so I can get a code for the radio. So a day later, someone did call me back. I missed the call, and then they sent me an email. And here's the email. It says that they tried their retailer, they couldn't find the code. They looked in their records and couldn't find the code. But they say the code's on the back of the radio. Now, that's a joke. I mean, what's the purpose of having a code if it's stamped on the back of the radio? But she said, yeah, it's there. So I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to just pull this radio out and see if there is a code there. Now, you could replace it with a single DIN unit, but the bracket doesn't suit it properly. And you can buy actually brackets that will suit a single DIN radio if you want to convert this to a more modern Bluetooth radio system. But they're really quite expensive, and I don't want to do that just at the moment. So I'm just going to take a few more bolts out and see if we can find a code. There is a number printed on the back there. Where is that? 20037? 20037. Yeah, we give it a go. Waiting. I'll put this on pause while we wait. Oh, no good. It's only a 4-digit code. I think it's only got please wait because I've pressed the wrong code so many times. And that print at the back was a 5-digit number. I wouldn't think they would have had the code on the back of the radio because that's what the code's for, anti-theft. Go figure. Well, I'm going to have a go at painting the steering wheel. As you can see, the airbag is black. He had to replace it when he hit that kangaroo many years ago. And it's looking pretty shabby, the steering wheel. It's worn. I've got to try and match that colour. Just by mixing it myself. You can get the Jaguar colour of the seats and the Jaguar colour of the paint, but trying to get that Jaguar colour for the contrasting trim, I don't know how to get it. But it's easy to match up. I can match some up pretty easy. So we'll get stuck into that. We're using a multitude of different colours from my leather dyes that I have. I've managed to get a mix up. I'm thinking that's going to be pretty good. I'll just go and do a little bit of a test on it and see how we go. In an ideal world, you'd take the steering wheel off, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it painted in situ. Most important thing is to get it super clean. I've sanded it back with Wet and Dry 2000 and just got all the scaly bits off and any little bits of damage from rings, etc. And then Prepsoled it, just gave it a good thorough clean with Prepsil. So let's try and get a bit of paint on it. Just going to sponge it on. Just very lightly. It's going to be hard to cover all that black, but a few coats it should cover it pretty good. Hopefully. 2 quick coats while I'm waiting for that to dry. I might get some leather binder, which I've just bought, into some of these cracks in the seat. I'm going to fill them up with the leather binder, and then you can sand this stuff when you finish. Just give it a light sand to see if I can just get... It's not going to be perfect, but I want to protect these seats further, so just putting this stuff in is going to bind that leather so they're just not going to crack anymore. So I just got to, I didn't have any, can't find any foam, so I'm just going to use a bit of lamb's wool from an old seat cover and just rub it in there. And you just do thin coats and just keep building it up until you get to a satisfied level, and then you can sand it back once it's dry. You can firmly just push this stuff in, squeeze it right in so it soaks into that leather. Let it dry, do another coat over the top of it, but for the first coat, let's get it right in there. She's pretty bad. Well, I've seen worse, but she'll be right. It'll look a lot better. Now, since the leather binder's dry, I'm just filling these little, filling these cracks up with the crack filler, just to flatten them out to make them nice and even. and then we'll give them another sand again. Well, I'm pretty happy with that to start with. We'll just let it dry a little bit before we put a sealer on it, but getting there with that. And these seats, I'm starting to do a bit more work on them. I've filled them up with those filler, that leather stuff, and I've just been a little bit aggressive. I'm using like a 240 on this just to try to bring the ridges down as much as possible. And then I'll actually add some more of that crack filler back in there. But get those ridges down so they're not going to be so noticeable when we fill her up. A little bit of work sanding these down. You've got to be a little bit gentle with it. But we're getting there. It's working. And I put some heavy duty crack filler in that one. That's only had one filler so far. That's going to have some more in it. Might do it now. Okay, we're going to let that dry and give that a sand back. We'll do a bit more over there in a minute. Tedious, but it's be worth it in the long run. I wonder if I can get that clean. Well, it didn't come up too bad. Not for a 25-year-old Matt, 26-year-old Matt. I'm pretty happy with that. Well, I've removed the radio cassette out of the XK for the second time because I found on eBay, I love my eBay, that for £1.42 I can get, which is $3 Australian, a code by just sending them that money. And the next day a code came back by just giving them the serial number of the radio cassette, which was on the back of it. So I've got the code, and it's the first time I've had a chance to actually check out to see if it works or not. So I've just put the radio back in situ. Let's turn it on. Needs a code. It was 2311. You've got to be kidding me. So Jaguar Australia, Jaguar UK, Jaguar support could not provide a code for me, but I can get it for $3 online. Go figure. Anyway, look, that's great. We've got another little job solved. I'm happy with that. Okay, so I've removed the wiper mechanism out of the XK again for the third time. And we're going to swap this motor over with the one I bought from the States, second-handy. Up there. I don't even know if this is going to be the problem. What? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's a left hand. They're different for left hand and right hand. Oh my God. Brady! There's actually no way I'm going to be able to fit that. Otherwise I wouldn't have made two different types anyway. Why didn't someone tell me it was a left hand and right hand one? It didn't in the advertisement. I should have sort of double checked it. Okay. Well, I've got a spare left-hand wiper motor for XK that's going to be next to useless unless I sell it back to America again. Again, these windows have stopped working. The passenger one's working okay, sort of okay. But this driver one's packed it in again. It's just nothing's happening with the switch. So I think I've got a faulty window module in there. I'm going to try and order another second-hand one. Plus, you close the door and it's still telling me the driver's door's open. That could be related to this thing not working again, but there's all these little electrical problems. It's really getting me down a bit. And this window doesn't really work properly. You open it up and it only goes a bit of a way. It doesn't go all the way. So it could be a window module there too. So we're back to square one. It's still not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So we'll have to just try and source another motor from somewhere, either second-hand or new. I'll have to look for that. But it's looking a lot cleaner down there now. Still got to clean up the other end a little bit more. So we'll get the scuttle back on it and see how we go. We can buy aftermarket ones, I see, for some later model Jags X-Type and S-Type from China. But none for the earlier XKs and XJs, which is a bit of a bummer, so we'll probably source a second-hand one somehow. But I'm getting really excited about this thing. Is it going to be a keeper? Paint's looking just beautiful. It's a dusty and dirty because it's been sitting in this garage for a couple of weeks now. But she's really fun, so just got to just play with it for the next few months and see how we go. I still haven't done this seat because I don't have oatmeal. the colour oatmeal. I've got every other Jaguar dye under the sun, but I don't have an oatmeal. So that's still got to be done, but that's not priority. And I have a catalytic converter coming from America, and it should be here soon. That's going to be replaced on the right hand side to get rid of the rattle. If you've been watching my previous videos with this girl, it's had a lot of rattles. So if you made it this far in this video and you did like it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed you can do that too. And if you want to hear a lot of that, if you want to make a comment, I love hearing from you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. But there's still a lot of things to do to get this car right, and we're getting there, but we've got more to do, so let's get stuck into them.